All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. We're about to listen to what Coach Schottenheimer has to say after the first padded practice for the Dallas Cowboys and before the second one. Let's get right into it and be sure to subscribe for more Dallas Cowboys content on the regular. Man, shut your up. All righty now, Blue Skidoo, you can too. Let me go ahead and turn this playback speed up a little bit because we're going to want to go a little bit quicker. All right, let's go ahead and roll like this.
It's Monday, right? Here we go. Good. Just making sure.
Whoa, what's up with the sound quality?
Yep. Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. How does losing Rob Jones for about 2-3 months affect the depth of your offensive line?
Well, first of all, you hurt for Rob. I mean, he's having a great camp and terrific young man, and so you hurt for him first. But at the end of the day, he's going to do everything, and be very diligent through the process to get back. We're going to give him everything that we can do from a medical standpoint. But again, this is a physical game, and it happens. You don't want to see it. You hate to see it. But again, he's a talented young player that will bounce back and be as good as new when he gets back.
Yeah, that's tough, man. Broken neck is crazy. And it's a fractured bone in his neck, but broken neck, same thing, bro.
Yeah, it was a kick-out block, and just there was a violent collision, one of those freak things. And again, we're pretty fortunate it wasn't worse. It wasn't worse, and it's just one of those deals about playing the game of football. And it's you hate to see it.
It happens,
but,
man.
I talked to him last night, and we're with him. We're supporting him, and like I said, young player with a great career ahead of him.
And this is why guys like Michael be holding out without getting that deal first, bro.
Clarence Hill, DLLS Cowboys. Can you talk about the depth at guard now with him out? Certainly, I know the Sadiq Charles option there. TJ Bass, Brock Hoffman. You talk about those guys.
Yeah, I think we've got some pieces that we know we can move around. You moved a lot of those. Brock Hoffman can play that spot. Sadiq's been a great addition. Love what he's doing. You'll see him playing inside. Some Clarence at guard. You'll see him playing some jumbo tight end. We like to get the extra offensive lineman in the game. Some that's been big for us.
Okay, Detroit Lions.
TJ Bass playing some center, some guard. Awesome Richards might have to move in there some, but this is the time of year that you want to move those pieces around anyway. So it doesn't really change anything. It just gives an opportunity for some guys that were maybe a little farther down the depth chart to get more opportunities in a padded situation going against some top tier defensive talent.
One day it passed, how do you evaluate the energy and what you got and what do you need to improve on today?
I thought it was very physical. I thought our guys did a nice job understanding what we call the thud tempo, which is that quick, wrap and release where you're striking with your shoulder. I thought that was great. I thought the energy was really good. At the end of the day, we had too many guys on the ground. That normally happens. These guys have to learn. It's a process. They learn how to, when you strike, you can't, you got to continue to move your feet. So, but all in all, it was good energy. The focus was really good. And the winning team came down to the bags. So those pre-practice bags, because the offense won the first rack, the defense won the second team period, the offense won the third, the defense won the fourth. So we had to go to the tiebreaker, which is always the bags, and the offensive coaches had better props, so they won.
Brian Todd Archer with ESPN. Is that keeping track of all that stuff every day? Is there a running total in the team room?
Yeah, we score practice. You get points for different things. If it's normal D&D and it's a gain of 4 yards or more, the offense gets a point. If it's less than 4 yards, the defense gets a point. If it's a third or fourth down conversion, the offense gets 2 points. Same thing if the defense stops them. 3 points for a touchdown, 3 points for a takeaway. And Tyler Boyles, my chief of staff, does a great job of keeping up with it. But we're always competing, and there's always going to be a winner and a loser. Defense won the first 2 days, and offense responded yesterday, and they got the victory.
Okay.
Is that something that you've been coaching for 25, 30 years? Is that was always happening, or is that something that's kind of happened in the last 10 years?
That's something I learned from Pete. Like I said, the central theme of the program is what? Compete every day. And, the scoring is kept, and it's usually going to be close, and there's always good give and take. And we have different ways of, deciding who wins if it is a tie, because sometimes you'll have more than 4 periods. So anytime it's an even number of periods, you got to go to something. Sometimes it'll be a shoot-off. Sometimes it'll be different things. But that was something Pete did. And, again, he's a great competitor, and I think it adds something to practice because they want to win. A couple of the coaches had on they wore shoulder pads, and then one of our coaches, who's one of the best. I'm a sucker for props, and so I like props. And one guy was doing the LeBron, so he was coming through and he was doing the LeBron, and so all that stuff gets evaluated. Defense, their bags they weren't great.
John Schotty with The Athletic. What did you think of that brief period of time you got to watch Trayvon Diggs yesterday, kind of working off to the side?
I thought it looked great to see him moving around. I was giving him a hard time because I think he's lost his ability to catch. So I'm really concerned that he won't be able to intercept the ball. But no, I thought he looked really good. Love to see it. And
a little bit of sarcasm
again, like I said,
there.
all these guys that are rehabbing, man, They're competing to get back as fast as they can. But I love seeing that. And that's why I go over and watch and support, because I think it's important, for them to know that I do care. And, I thought he did a good job, and he's been dialed in. He's been communicating well and talking to the other guys, and that's what we want.
And then you guys, you blew the horn after the play to George Pickens. How do you decide and determine when practice will end?
Oh, the last play of practice? Yeah, yesterday we were on an hour, 45-minute practice, and we were right at like an hour and 44, so I knew that was going to be the last play. Usually it's scripted. That was, a scripted period as well, and I think there was 3 or 4 plays we didn't get to with the twos. But we're mindful of the clock. We usually stay pretty close to being on schedule, and we weren't behind, but, we lost a little bit of time, earlier in the practice, so I just ended up cutting 2 or 3. But yesterday was a cap. Today I think we're going hour 45, and it's a 2-hour cap, so we should be fine.
Star Telegram, sometimes a change of scenery can really do guys a benefit. For Kyer Elam, what do you think about this setting in this environment? Is really
Kyer, here we go. Get some football questions, man.
He's been the same guy every day since he's got here, since we signed him. I'm talking about with the club first. He had a really good spring, but again, the spring you're restricted. So there's certain things you can't do. You don't have equal right to the ball in the spring. So now that changes. You're allowed to play the ball live, we call it, and finish through, bust the triangle and stuff like that, as you guys learn your defensive back nomenclature. But he's been the same guy every day, and he's playing with confidence. And he's one of those guys that he's got elite feet, elite change of direction, but I see him growing in the mental side of it. I see him talking and studying splits with DA, David Overstreet II, and doing those things. And again, change of scenery helps a lot of people. A lot of people, they go to a team and it doesn't work out, then they go somewhere else, and for whatever reason, it fits. Is it the culture? Is it the defense? Is it them going, well, hell, I don't ever want to be traded again? And I think some guys take it personal. I don't think Kyer took it personal, but I do think he's got a chip on his shoulder just because he wants to be a great player, and he's proven that so far over these first couple days. And but the consistency of it is what gets me excited.
We've seen a lot of him. He's been getting good burn. What have you liked from him so far?
Yeah, big, powerful man. Uses his hands really, really well. He's one of those guys that, because of his size and width and things like that, he's hard to get around. If the speed rushers don't get him off the jump, it's hard for him because he's so big and strong. But he can anchor. He can absorb the bull rush and kind of sit down and stop movement. And in the run game, I mean, just a big, powerful man that can move people. Plays with good low pad level and gets his chin under the face mask, and he's able to lift people. So again, kudos to the scouting department and what they've done in bringing some of these guys in, because just 2 guys you talked about, Kyer and Hakeem.
Tommy Arsh, DallasCowboys.com. You detailed yesterday what you wanted to see from your running backs in their first day in pads. Did you get what you wanted out of that group, and who stood out to you?
Well, we have a lot of cold trickles. I learned that. We have a lot of guys that just drove through the smoke. Javonte had some great runs. Miles had some great runs. We were running some gap schemes and things like that, and some, we call them, double team plays where you're not pulling people. And I mean, they hit it shoulder square, no fair dodging. Thought we popped some nice runs. I thought we did a really good job in the run game yesterday of moving some people. Jaden had a couple really explosive runs, which was good to see. We got him on the safety one time, and the guy Phil Maffa, I'm starting to feel him. I'm starting to feel Phil. Like Phil's a guy who hasn't played football in a long time, and so you start to feel him and you're seeing the talent, which gets you excited. And then I'm going to say it again. You guys don't have to write it down because I know you're tired of hearing about it, but Hunter Luepke is an incredible football player.
He loves
really
Hunter Luepke, boy.
It's amazing. I mean, just his
Hey,
instincts.
Schotty love him
what he
some Hunter
does and what he
Luepke.
brings, and the fact of being able to play 3, 4 positions is incredible to me, and I can't say enough great things about him.
He going to make this roster.
Sign of his instinctive ability, like what you saw on the field, like he was supposed to go here, but notice he had to go there.
Yeah. I think it was the first period, Todd. I think you'll have to check it, but we were running an outside zone play to our right. The offense is right, and basically he's supposed to block the support player, the strong safety, who started down. On the snap, the safety went running back because our defense does a really good job of disguising, and they rotate their shells and they change it up. And so he started down. So Hunter's thinking, okay, I gotta go block that guy. That's my assignment. And then the safety leaves, so he ends up becoming basically a surf player. So what he does, he gets around the end, and it was a jumbo tight end. I don't remember which one it was doing it. And he gets around the edge, and there's a little bit of color off the tight end because the defensive end's trying to set the edge. And he just very subtly, very simply shoots his left hand and puts the defensive end back onto the tight end, because his threat wasn't there, and then he carries on to the second level and blocks his safety. It's like those things, it sounds easy, or maybe it doesn't sound easy. You guys are probably like, that sounds like a lot. But, those things don't just happen. But the ability to go, okay, my guy's down, I start to go, nope, he's leaving, okay, well, there's color, let me shoot that color back on and then carry on to the next level. Like, when it's breathing and it's moving fast like that, that's not an easy thing.
That man,
That's a play
Schotty,
you guys could definitely find probably out there on Twitter sphere or whatever it's called.
Joe White, Dallas Morning News. Quickly, was that a Miles Sanders run?
It was a Miles Sanders run. Yeah, around the edge. We actually captured the edge. Yeah, it was outside zone play. We captured the edge, large part because of him securing that. Miles got around the edge. Yep.
And then for a week in camp, what's the biggest difference you noticed in Tyler Guyton from last year to this year?
Confidence.
Tyler
is one.
Guyton.
I see him trying things, which is really good. I see him changing up his sets, doing different things, using his hands. That comes from having a new set of tools in your toolbox. That's what we refer to it as a toolbox. You give players tools in their toolbox, which means they have ways of changing up their sets, their techniques. I can vertical set, I can jump set.
How many times have y'all heard me say toolbox?
Outside arm press, I can do different things. And he's trying those different things, which is good because it frustrates the defensive lineman because they can't get a tell. When you're a younger player, you're more like, okay, that's my guy. I got to block Calvin, and so I'm just going to set back here, and wherever he goes, I'm just going to try to stay in front of him. But the fact that he's willing to try different sets and use those different toolboxes that Clayton and Connor have given him shows me that there's a confidence and that he's trusting the tools that he's being given. And usually what they all do is they figure out, hey, these 2 or 3 tools work really well for me, and those other 2 or 3 tools, those are kind of back burner.
A chess match between you and Matt Eberflus. Just to kind of further that question, how individualistic are you guys in terms of your play calling against each other? I know you're head coach too, but I mean, do you have no idea in what they're going to throw at you?
Well, when we do the move the ball period, which we'll do one to be our last period today, yeah, we have no idea. It's just kind of literally we throw the personnel out there, we call the play offensively, and then he does what he does. When it's scripted, not that we know, but like I could look if I wanted to. But in terms of the chess match, I mean, I think, again, right now their disguises are excellent. That's making us work. It's making the QBs have to take an extra split second to find it. I think yesterday we got after them pretty good in the run game, but they've done a nice job putting the lid on the coverage for us. We're having a hard time, which isn't unique. I mean, you're early in camp. Like I said, I've actually not let us throw routes on air, throwing deep balls, but we're just a little off. Like we missed CD late on one. JT could have finished one. I think AB made a hell of a play, busted the triangle. But in terms of that, the give and take, and of course you want to win. But it's not about the winning and the losing. It's more about, hey, are we getting good work? How's the tempo? How's the pace? Are we on top of our sticks awareness? And all the game management stuff comes into play.
Hey, Coach. Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. You mentioned Andrew Booth. You told me in the initial press conference that the other side of the coin with having Savone and Trayvon on the injured list is that the younger guys will need to step up. Looks like Andrew had the best day of camp so far for himself. What have you seen that was different yesterday than days previously, and what are you expecting to see from him going forward?
Well, the answer is yes. He's playing the same thing as Guyton. I see the confidence. I see a guy that, David Overstreet II, incredible coach. Just the footwork, the technique, the things that he teaches is outstanding. But I see these guys that when you're playing corner and you see something, you have to trust your instincts or your preparation. Hey, I see this split. I see the quarterback. I'm reading through, keying my 3-step. I see what's happening. Okay. And when they hesitate, that's usually when the ball gets completed. Thing other than that I've seen from AB is the ability to knock away contested catches. He's doing a great job of busting the triangle. The one that he got to GP early when he shouldn't have done that, I think that was him. But, I mean, yesterday I think he was the one on JT. We throw a go ball. JT's trying to stack the guy. AB's there. JT goes up trying to use late hands, and, AB kept fighting. I think JT started to come down with it, and, again, he just kept playing to the whistle. So, when you see corners like ours right now that are playing with confidence and they're triggering fast, that's a good thing. It means that they're confident and they've got a good feel for what they're doing.
Yesterday, we talked with Booker. He had a great line about how playing offensive line is like doing algebra in a fist fight. Is that messaging that comes from you guys? Is that something that maybe comes
Why
from
the captions just say ghetto?
Alabama? Did he come up with that by himself?
Yeah, you'd have to. I don't know that one. I like it. What was it? You're doing algebra in a fist fight. All right, I'm going to take that one. Algebra, fist fight. Okay.
In the scope of all the things that an offensive lineman obviously has to do, what have you liked about his early goings?
I'm going to say first his demeanor. The way the guy approaches the game, the physical nature, the nastiness that he plays with is great. There's some fundamental stuff in the run game that you just can't teach that the guy does because of his size, his length, and the power that he has in his body. I like how he's being challenged right now with the wide 3 technique, the attack front that we play. Like we're forcing him to try to get comfortable being uncomfortable, playing in space. And that's, of course, a Matt Eberflus, Rod Marinelli deal where you want to play wide. But, obviously we made the move the other day, but the way he responded, to being put down on the second team, that shows you, man, he's wired the right way and he's got the right stuff. And he came back yesterday. I thought he had a really, really good day. And part of the success that we had yesterday in the run game was some of the double teams and fits that he was creating in there with our tackles and BB and all that stuff.
You haven't allowed the deep ball routes on air yet. Take me through what's the thinking there? Why not?
Well, so in routes on air, you have a few minutes. Usually we script 4 things for the receivers that we want to work on, and they're going. It's just because it's still early in camp and the guys are getting their legs underneath them, throwing go balls and then coming back and throwing a post in routes on air. It's not smart. You just worry early on in camp about potential soft tissue, things like that. Those will begin to get added in as we go. And
very smart, bro. This is what I'm talking about.
The ball travels the farthest. You got to throw it.
The man has a plan for everything, bro. See, that injury Rob Jones got wasn't a soft tissue. The injury that Brevin Spanford isn't soft tissue. It's an ankle injury. I think he's going to talk about that in just a second. But This is what I'm talking about. Schotty has a plan for everything, bro. And I'm just kind of trying to listen because he's talking a lot of football stuff. So I'm listening, man. This is not like a lot of news or stuff that you can give a lot of commentary on. So I'm honestly just enjoying some football conversation. I'm gonna be real, man. Y'all seeing me be a fan right now.
More accurately, got to have a guy that goes and gets it, and a lot of things go into it. But yeah, we recognize the fact that we need to get better at that. So you'll see those being sprinkled in a little bit more. We call it RVAs, routes versus air. Some people call it routes on air, but you'll see a little bit more deep balls mixed in there as we go.
Pat Doney with NBC5 in Dallas. The pre-practice energy, they're running through the bags, everybody's going crazy. I've also noticed you walking through and talking to every single player as they stretch. Why does that matter to you? Why are you going out of your way to make sure that all of these guys?
Pat Doney. Pat.
Connection. I care about these
He
guys.
done talked about
Again,
this
these are
before.
my family.
Skip that question.
I mean, do you still take a second when you would see that and just say, wow, that this is a guy in full pads doing a flip on the field? What are your thoughts on?
I'm used to it now, but absolutely.
Bro, you asking about Joe Milton's flip, bro? Pat Doney just had the worst questions of the set so far, bro. Pat, what are you asking? First of all, have you been paying attention? They've asked Brian Schottenheimer about him going and talking to people at practice. How many times, bro? Pat, bro, I can't stand when dudes be wasting times at these press conferences, bro.
It's still, when I watch it, it's still pretty impressive.
And then you asking about the backup quarterback doing backflips. Does backflip win you football games, bro? What we talking about? This got to be the only market in the league where people asking about the backup quarterback doing backflips.
I just don't want Dak to get any ideas.
I want to bring you back to Hunter Luepke. What of his skill set reminds you of some of the great players that you've gotten to coach in your career?
Start with the instincts. Start with the physicality, pad level. Versatility is incredible. Do you guys know why he wears number 40? You guys ever asked him that?
Hunter Luepke.
Say it. Tell him. Mike Allstott. So here's a guy that, again, idolized Mike Allstott growing up. That's why he wears number 40. But, boy, he's very different than Mike. Mike was a great player, certainly. But the things that we can do with Hunter, starting because of the versatility, the physicality, so smart.
Man,
I mean, football
Schotty
instincts
is
are
in love
off the
with
charts.
Hunter Luepke,
I think a guy a little bit with a chip on his shoulder. He won't say much. He's pretty quiet, but he's got something to prove.
That's his pet cat, bro.
Mike was bigger. Mike seemed thicker than he was, and I never saw like Mike play in line as a tight end. You know, I mean, Hunter plays in some of our 11 personnel stuff as a tight end. Like he's a wide tight end. He's a fullback. Mike played fullback, halfback. He did some of that stuff, but probably the versatility of playing in line as a tight end and things like that. Of course, I don't know Mike Allstott that well, and like I said, he's a great player. But it's more of the fact that Hunter looks up to him, and he works on his craft every day, and he goes out there with an intentionality and an intensity that's cool to watch.
Dallas Cowboys TV. Do you have an update on Brevin Spanford? I saw him go into the tent to get evaluated, and kind of a second part question. I saw John Stevens get some opportunities.
Can't believe Pat Doney wasted 2 questions like that.
In terms of confidence, just considering he has kind of his seasons have been derailed due to injuries.
Yeah, I'll talk about Brev first. Yeah, has an ankle. Looks like it's going to be a couple weeks. Nothing we're overly concerned about. But John Stevens is, we're ramping him back up into practice. We're being smart with what we do. He is chomping at the bit a little bit, like I talked about Sam Williams. We all know the talent that he has, but again, to talk about the work ethic and what this guy had to persevere and fight through, and anybody that's ever been injured and then injured twice in 2 years, like just the mental anguish that you go through. I mean,
I ain't gonna believe
this young
being
man,
injured's
I
trash,
can't say
bro.
enough great things about him and his work ethic
My
and what
tailbone
he
was
did with our
jacked up,
trainers
and that was
and Jim
terrible,
and Britt Brown and Harold Nash and his staff. Like, he hasn't missed a day. And what's cool for me as Dak was rehabbing is watching the influence that a veteran player like Dak has on a John Stevens, Nate Thomas, Vaughn. That's what I like, is I like when the veterans, and not take Dak's name out of it, doesn't matter, but when they really become interested in the success of their younger teammates, that's when something's clicked from a culture standpoint.
Brad Sham, 105.3 The Fan. When you talk about a guy with the unusual, versatile skill set of Luepke, at what point do you have to figure out how best can you get lost in the versatility and not wind up using him the best way to use him, whatever that is?
Yeah, I could say the answer would be you hope that never happens. When you get into a game plan situation, Brad, it's a little cleaner. Right now,
we've had enough Hunter Luepke questions. We've had enough Hunter Luepke. All right, reporters, y'all been out there sipping on Mai Tais and chilling on that beach. Y'all ain't been preparing yourselves properly for this. What kind of questions is getting asked, bro?
just installing plays. Install 1, install 2. Today was install 5.
How much we need
I
to
think.
know about Hunter Luepke?
You know, everything now is scripted, but in a game it's pretty tight.
Ask
you know,
about
but
some
what it
dudes
does
at
give
the
you
bottom of
is
the
if
roster.
there is
ask about how he feels such and such is doing, or you know, ask him about guys that we're not sure about their roster spot. Ask him about are any of the undrafted free agents standing out yet? Like, damn.
Injuries. He can fill so many holes. So he's so valuable because he's great on special teams. He's a great fullback. He's a talented runner. He's a good tight end. He can catch.
You love Hunter Luepke.
You guard against that, but I think really when you get into the season, it doesn't happen very often. Is when you get into the game, it's going to be 1 or 2 things, and that's it.
Yeah.
Kyle Yeomans, Cowboys TV. You mentioned yesterday the importance of 11 personnel and the benefits of that versus running 9-on-7 or 7-on-7. What did you learn from the first practice of really working the run game in 11-on-11? And was the Hunter Luepke play that you talked about earlier an example of why that is beneficial?
Yes, I would say what jumped out at me yesterday was the way our receivers blocked in the run game. And the fans are going, oh, great, they're blocking, but we're going to run the damn ball. You ain't got to worry about that. We're going to run the football. So, but like we had a play, we were in a little tight, condensed bunch set, and it was Jalen Cropper at the point, and I think it was Trayshawn outside of him, and we had to basically go double inside to get to an inside piece. And I mean, Crop went flying in there and just struck the guy and did an unbelievable job. Like, to be a great football team, it's got to be selfless, and receivers have to block. And that jumped out at me yesterday. But you don't get that, to your point, you don't get that 9-on-7. They're over there running their routes and putting their wristbands on and fixing their gloves, checking their headbands and all that shit. And it's like, hey, let's go get some dirty work done.
Yeah.
Why do you think so many guys on the ground?
It happens. I mean, Calvin, it does happen. I would hope there's less on the ground today. These guys, remember, I mean, the way the NFL sets it up for us is, you know, you can almost have 0 contact during the spring.
Bro.
I get it. Then you've got this little ramp up.
What is up with these questions today, bro? Did y'all just not have nothing to actually talk about because practice yesterday was kind of boring? It was kind of uneventful, bro. What? Did you just ask him why so many guys on the ground? Bro, in this press conference.
But then when you put pads on, I mean, last time our guys.
Y'all only needed 5-10 minutes with Coach today, man. Stop making them sit up here for 20-30 minutes if y'all don't have 20-30 minutes worth of legitimate football questions to ask, bro.
Guys were in pads was January, right? So it happens. And then the veterans are always better than the young players. The veterans kind of know how to practice. They've learned that trait. They've learned that skill. It's like, you know, learning how to ride a bike. You kind of, okay, yeah, all right, let me dust this off a little bit. I know how to do it. But the young guys and them kind of learning the tempo is a little bit different. And then, you know, the worst thing you can do is have a guy that is consistently on the ground. And we really don't have that right now. And, you know, sometimes like Donovan, we were running a game.
Oh, so many guys on the ground yesterday.
Yesterday, and Donovan Zaraka was running a game, and TJ Bass trying to pass the game tripped. I mean, that's football, you know, and you don't want it to happen, but it does happen. And again, I hope today, and I expect today, will be better.
We saw him get some reps with the ones yesterday. What did you like from him early on? With these spring football guys, do they show up more ready to hit the ground running, if that makes sense, or is there kind of a freshening period that you have to do?
Well, they have some catching up to do because of the learning process. Sometimes they miss things. I can't remember. I mean,
TJ Bass question.
Veterans have an easier time in the early parts of training camp, and that's why you get excited piecing it together. And
New mic. All right. Yeah, no, for real though. For real. They need a new everything, new questions, new everything. Hey man, not a lot came from this press conference, man. Mainly because of the questions that was asked. Tyler Guyton playing much better, playing pissed off. Just Hunter Luepke, he really loves Hunter Luepke. And then a lot of football conversation, which I was enjoying him actually listening to him talk football. But the questions that were asked, we didn't really learn nothing. I don't know what I'm about to name this video. I just sat here and recorded this. Y'all getting this mug. I don't know what I'm about to title this because I can't think of nothing interesting that was in this press, bruh. Oh, man. Either way, appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Till next time. How about them Cowboys? Damn, that was the most exciting thing that happened this whole video.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Oh, shut up, my boy. Hey! I'm still them boys.